Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. I'm your DJ and host, Sam Wilson Jr., and I'm here to bring you the history genre of black music: gospel, jazz, blues, old school classic soul, old school hip hop, today's hip hop and R&B, Caribbean, Latin, Afrobeat, Afro-Latina, blue-eyed soul, disco, go-go, line dances, and the Lost 45s. So come with me as I take you on to a trip to the history destination genre of black music, right now on the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and I have a special guest on my show, and it's a Southern Soul episode. This lady that I'm about to introduce is a Southern Soul singer. I got a chance to check out her videos, including Let's Go to Church and Sorry, which is available on YouTube. And I got a chance to download her song Dirt Road, which is available now on iTunes. Please help me welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, DeVonese. Hi, DeVonese. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's DeVonese. It's DeVonese, but that's okay.
You'll have to forgive me because I
I know.
can't pronounce every names. But
All right.
welcome to my podcast. Glad to have you here as we
Thank you.
celebrate Black History Month. Very
Yes.
glad to have you here. Alrighty, so the world may not know who you are. America doesn't know who you are, so I'm very glad to have you here. So let us begin, shall we?
All right.
Now, where were you born?
I was born in a little town called Aliceville, Alabama.
Alabama.
Yes.
Now, how far is it from Montgomery?
I'm about 3.5 hours from Montgomery. We're in the really, really rural South area.
Oh, okay. Now, were your parents in the music industry or did they had 9 to 5 day jobs?
Both had 9 to 5 and also had time to um, record and sing praises. We were in a gospel quartet group.
Mm, okay.
Mhm.
Now, which high school did you go to?
I went to the mighty Aliceville High School. We represent those yellow jackets.
Oh.
Hmm.
And which college did you go to?
Well, I attended two community colleges. The first was Lawson State Community College and Birmingham, Alabama, and also Virginia College, where I studied medical assistant in healthcare administration management, also in Birmingham, Alabama.
Now, what was your major in college?
Well, basically, my major was healthcare administration slash medical assistant. I saw myself in the medical back office field, which I currently do right now in insurance. So, I kind of like that and talking to people and kind of off in the back. Yeah.
Now, who did you want to be when you grow up?
Initially, I wanted to be a teacher because not because I love kids, but I do love kids, but because growing up at that time, the teachers were somebody to look up to, and we were able to trust, and so I wanted to be a teacher in order to help the youth coming under me, and a singer because I always been singing since I was 4.
And how old were you when you started singing and writing songs?
Well, singing and writing songs, I'll say about 20, 20, 22, 23. Where I start to actually perform and start to write my own songs.
Was being a singer and a songwriter your calling?
I definitely believe that it was. The gift that I have, it came directly from above, so I don't think that he would have given it to me not to use it. Excuse me. Excuse me. A little under the weather. Excuse me.
Okay. Now, you was in a gospel group called the Gospel Angels. What was it like
Yes.
singing with your family and singing in front of the congregation?
It was all fun all the way around because, with my family 24/7. It was my granny, my mother, my aunts, a friend of the family that was like an aunt, and then getting up in front of the congregation to lend a voice, and that voice, from the Jesus aspect of it was actually awesome.
Okay. Now, you later moved to Washington, D.C., and you got a chance to visit the BET studios. What's it
Hmm.
like being inside the BET studios, which is the home of Video Soul and Video
Yes.
LP and Rhapsody and Midnight Love and Jazz Central and Bobby Jones Gospel?
Right. It was, that was BET. In itself was just everything for all black people back in the day. Now, I would like to say that I got in, but I didn't get in because they were on a break. But I did get on the outside, and I did take a picture with the big BET sign that was, I want to say, in gold back then. It was just an honor to be in the presence of the building because I know the greats who would have been there if it went on and off, season.
Right. Because every
Yeah.
time when I go on my birthday vacation, I usually take the Greyhound or Peter Pan bus. Once we get
Yeah.
off at Route 50, I would see the BET studios from the
Hmm.
outside. So I get what you're thinking. So
Yeah.
that was the BET that we know back then.
Right.
Now, you've
Yep.
auditioned for American Idol twice and you got rejected and you wasn't selected. What was your
Right.
experience for auditioning for American Idol?
It was an adrenaline rush. It was an adrenaline rush from the time I hit the plane and the time I landed in DC to audition in my first visit. And even though I didn't make it, I had the best time of my life. And they then came to Birmingham, Alabama, where I resided at that time. All I had to do is go down the street, and and I didn't get picked there, even though both auditions wanted me to sing a little bit longer. I think they felt that soul, but they were looking for something different. But I did get the encouragement to keep going, and that's what I did and intend to do.
Okay. Now, you also auditioned for The Voice twice
Yeah.
as well. What was your experience for auditioning The Voice?
About the same as the American Idol because if when I go in good spirit. So I go knowing that there's a chance that you won't get picked, a chance that you will get picked. But that's when you surround yourself with the other people who's there, make the best of it, and when you come out, win or lose, you're still gonna be a star in your eyes. So,
Now, how old were you when you started doing karaoke?
that was in my early 20s. I want to say about 24, 23, 24. I was on my own and we would go out and karaoke to me was something fun. Not just going to the club and having a good time. We went out for karaoke where I got to showcase not only my voice, but my moves. I had a good time. I love karaoke to this day.
Okay, well, my first experience of going to a karaoke when I go on to my birthday vacation in Maryland, when my paternal cousins they take me out to some clubs and not only dancing but also karaoke when I see
Mhm.
people singing to their favorite songs and everything. So
Yes.
I kind of like it, but I prefer get to the dancing and we'll do the karaoke later. Now, growing up, who were your favorite singers?
I would always get off. Well, I say work because in high school I had all my credits, so I got off a little out early. And when I got out early from school, I would always come home and pop in Mary J. Blige. She was first. I like all the blues greats. I love the Betty Wrights. I love the Denise LaSalle. I love Johnny Taylor. Um, they were really like a fixture in our household. We would listen to them back to back. Bobby Blue Bland. They were just all good. And then Fantasia came, and she did American Idol, and she came and she won, and she just won my heart because she just to me is like I'm looking at me because she's passionate. She loves what she do, and she's a God fearing woman. So I just love it.
Now, who were your musical influences that had inspired you to sing?
All of those girls. Initially, my mom, my grandma, that because we walk around the house and there's just music. We didn't go a day without music, even if it wasn't from the radio. It was, my granny walking through the house singing and cooking and cleaning. And because we had a gospel group, we were always gone from Saturday to Sunday every weekend. So, my family really influenced me because they started me off at a young age. And that's why I continue to this day.
Now, what were some of your music genres that you've sung so far?
So the genre, I like to say I don't have one. I do Southern soul now, but I definitely started out in gospel. I love gospel music. You would always hear a gospel song from me. You may hear two or three. Just depends on how I feel and what I want to write. I like R&B because there was an era where the R&B artists were banging. I like rap. People tend to say I rap a little bit. I like music, and I like if it makes me feel good, I want to do it. I like it.
Now,
Country.
yes, yes. Now, as I said in the intro, I got a chance to listen to your song on YouTube that includes Let's Go to Church and Sorry. Please share with our audiences about those two songs that I just mentioned.
Okay. Um, so I'm gonna start with sorry. Sorry was came from a place where of me being a woman, because a lot of women, uh, and I'm not gonna say men, but I can speak from my standpoint that we've been in relationships and things happen, and they say, well, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do it again, or don't leave. It's just the devil. And I decided that I'm not the only somebody who may have went through that, but I know there's somebody else out there who needed to hear that. So I just decided to write it because I felt like it would represent women and also men, because women can do that too. Um, but let's go to church just came because I'm a Christian and I love Jesus, and I had a beat. It wasn't even a church beat. It's Southern soul because that's what I do. And but when the words come to me, whether it's let's go to church or I'm going down the street, whatever that it comes to me, and I got that beat and I can hear it, I just wrote it flawlessly.
Mhm. Now, I got a chance to download your song, Dirt Road, which is available on iTunes. Please share with our audience on what that song is about.
That song is about my upbringing. We lived on a dirt road for almost, well, my entire life. I don't think they really paved it until I was about 18, 17. At that point, I was getting ready to leave the country, Alabama. And so, we lived in a wood house. I could relate, I know some more people could relate to that. We didn't want for anything. We had heat, we had water, we had lights, we had food. It's just that everybody on that road, even if we weren't cousins or kin to each other, it felt like it. And so, Dirt Road to me was paying homage to everybody on that road who had a hand in raising everybody, and the people who were not there, because it's not the same when people die. And so, if you don't get the flowers while they're living, I wanted to pay homage to them while they're gone.
Okay. Now, how did you get the name DeVonese?
DeVonese, me. That's my middle name. I was born with that name, so the name has always been attached to me. People just call me by my first name, as we do. And when I decided to do music, the uniqueness of DeVonese came to me instantly, because I didn't want to be Miss This or Lady This when I can just be me,
Hmm.
and that's
Now,
my
since
middle
this
name.
is a yes, now since this a Southern Soul episode, please
Mm-hmm.
share with our audience on what is Southern Soul music, because not everybody knows what Southern Soul music is.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. So Southern Soul, and I'm just going to break it down like this is what I tell everybody who asks. To me, Southern Soul is a blend. It's gospel and blues. And they got together, had a baby called Southern Soul. So when you hear Southern Soul, you're going to hear the gospel aspect of it. You're going to hear the blues aspect of it. And then you're going to hear the soul that comes from within, because all of those three together is soul. It's just soul music. I happen to be Southern. And Southern soul takes a different realm, because it comes from a place where, I'm not saying that up north can't relate, but when you born and bred in the South, and you got that soul to back you up, and that soul, which is like that family that is in you, ain't nothing that somebody gave me. It came from birth. And so when you hear it, you automatically know that, hey, that's Southern soul, that's blues. You sound gospel, and I get that a lot.
Mm, okay, and thanks
Mhm.
for sharing that because I never knew about that Southern soul music because every October when I visit my paternal cousins in
Mhm.
Maryland, that represents Fort Washington, Waldorf, and Clinton, or around DC and vicinity, or we should say, in other words, DMV.
Yes.
And they would take me to some places. DJ be playing this, what kind of this music is. And then when I visit my cousins, they would have WPFW FM.
Okay.
And since I took my computer back in 2020, I said, let me go check out WPFW FM. And my first time listening to the station was back in 1983, Mother's Day weekend. I was just coming from funeralizing my paternal grandmother, who is originally from Maryland. She would never tell me. I thought she was from New York. But when I was staying with my cousins, they had on WPFW. They would play some of the classic soul songs. They were playing Mother's Day songs. And I said to myself, how come we don't have that in the NYC? But every time I come down to visit my cousins, I will have WPFW hooked to my computer.
Mm.
And when I do my travel, I take my Walkman. When I get to DC, put on FM 89.4 WPFW. Boom. Then I will start listening to it. And since we talked about Southern soul music a few minutes ago, I said, oh, okay. That's how they do down in Maryland. They would play Southern soul music and go go. So,
Yeah.
like I said earlier, my cousins, they take me to some different clubs, whether they were playing Southern soul or go go. And yeah, they play my music too, you know,
Okay.
um, hip hop and classic soul and today's hip hop and R&B and Caribbean.
Right.
So it's like home. So I take that back home with me. So I get you thinking what Southern Soul, and you educated me a lot. So thank you for
Thanks.
sharing that with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, you and your husband and your manager are forming your own
Excuse me.
production company called
Yeah.
TEP Enterprises, which is going on now for 2025. Share with your audience about your production company and what can we see in the upcoming projects ahead.
Sure. So it's Turner Entertainment Productions LLC. So we're an entertainment company that we are. The DeVonese is under the umbrella, and we are trying to put on shows, bring new faces, let people hear the people that don't get heard. Maybe and they call them independent artists, but I just call them artists because nobody, if nobody ever sees you, nobody heard your music, nobody knew who you are, and so we want to be the people who give them that chance to get out there, because you never know what will happen, and we want to be the people who does that for people like myself, because people put me on stages where nobody knew who I was. But if you captivating and you go out there and you perform to your best ability, I can guarantee you they will know your name after that. So we're deciding to um, do that, try to bring awareness for music. Eventually, we may have artists under that umbrella, but right now we're just trying to do like the festivals and bring different shows to different areas. And so we got one coming in August that we put together, and it's going to be awesome. But that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. I'm very glad you're here, and since you are an independent artist, and that's what
Hmm.
I do here on my podcast, I try to
Right.
reach out to independent artists as well as musicians and singers,
Mm.
whether they were on the major record labels or not on the
Right.
major record labels. And every time when I'm trying to look for some artists like Southern Soul, and I have burned CDs on Southern Soul music, I see some artists that are not on the major record labels. They are independent artists, just like you said, independent artists who get like creative control, creative freedom. They can collaborate who they can collaborate with
Right.
without having the record executives to dictate to them what
Exactly.
should they not sing or who they cannot collaborate with. So
Right.
now you have the creative control on who you can reach out to and let the artist shine.
Exactly.
Now, here's a question that I always ask my guests: living or dead, which artist that you wanted to meet or who you want to perform with?
Well, of course, I want to perform with Fantasia. I think our energies would match. I would like to perform. Well, Mr. Johnny Taylor, I would have loved to have been on his record. I mean, I like to sing, so I'm gonna just tell you if the song, I don't like to judge, but if I like a person and I like their music, I want to jump on it. I don't care if you're independent or been out on the scene. I want to jump on it. And my husband can tell you, I remix a lot of people's stuff just sitting in my house listening to it. But Fantasia would definitely be a person that I want to collaborate with. And then, like you said, Dead, Johnny Taylor, Betty Wright. I would have loved to collaborate with her. It's just, and I want to pay homage to them at this point because I can't. And so, when I do my set, I really go out there and I pay homage to Betty Wright, and I also do a little Denise LaSalle because those are the people who paved the way for us. So,
Okay.
mhm.
Now, here on the Black Soul Music Experience, I always ask my guests who is the top 10 R&B black artist of all time. And since I have you, since this is a Southern Soul episode, we can mix it up a bit. We'll do the top 10 R&B black and Southern Soul artists of all
Okay.
time. Now, here's how it works. We do it like a top 10 countdown, like the show America's Top 10 with Casey Kasem. We start
Yes.
at the bottom five and we figure out who is the best singer but didn't get any recognition. And then we get to the top five. Then we find out who was the best singer ever, who had the most hits, the top 10 hits, number one hits, which artists that received a gold or platinum or double platinum, triple platinum, or in today's thing, diamond platinum. Did that artist receive a Grammy or American Music Award or a BET Award or an MTV VMA or a Soul Train Award? Did that artist perform at the American Bandstand or Soul Train or the Midnight Special or Saturday Night Live or Solid Gold? Or did they perform on many local shows across the
Mm.
country? Or did that artist performed on PBS during Pledge Month? Or did they had their special in prime time, whether it's on CBS or NBC or ABC? Or did they had that live content special aired on HBO or Showtime? So, DeVonese, hope I got your name right. I'll put you to the test. So, are you
Okay.
ready to take that challenge?
I am. Like I said, I'm under the weather, but give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The weather's been pretty bad here, right everywhere.
Okay.
But yeah, let's go. I'm ready. I'm gonna, give you what I got.
Okay. Who should be at number 10?
Number 10 would be, let's say, Sherelle.
Ah, Sherelle, number
Hmm.
10. When we first made her debut back in 1984, she did the song called I Didn't Mean to Turn You On. When I saw that video, oh my goodness, it was like doing a spoof on King Kong. And she had other hits, Everything, I Missed at Home, and Affair, just to name a few back in the 80s. So we'll put Sherelle at number 10.
Okay.
Okay, who should be at number 9?
Um, and I had someone in mind. Number 9, who didn't really get the shine. Um, oh goodness. Let's go with, and I'm just gonna go with this because he's the first person came in my head. Montel Jordan. He had like that one hit.
Yes, Montel Jordan, singer,
Yes.
songwriter. He is best known for a couple of hits, including Let's Get It On Tonight. And he's also written a song for Deborah Cox, Nobody's Supposed to Be
Uh
Here,
huh. Uh huh.
and just to name a few. So we'll put Montel Jordan at
Yes.
number 9.
Yes.
All right, who should be at number 8?
So you just named her. She was really good, but she didn't really catapult like others. Deborah Cox.
Ah, yes, Deborah
Yeah.
Cox representing Canada. She
Yeah.
had
She was
some
good.
hits back then, back in the mid 90s, but yes, she'll be known for her top 10 hit, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here.
Yeah.
And, there were some other songs later on, but nothing can
Yeah.
compare to that top 10 hit. So we'll put Deborah Cox at number 8. All right, who should be at number 7?
Number 7, I'm going to say Tony Terry.
Ah, Tony Terry.
Yeah.
We've heard him back in the early 90s
90s.
with his
Yeah.
debut song, When I'm With You.
Love
That
it.
was one of the best love ballads ever. And
And
there
it
was
still
some,
is. It still is.
it
Yeah.
was best known for wedding song and
Yeah.
everything. So there were some other hits that he had back then, but nothing can compare to that debut song. So we'll put
Right.
Tony Terry at number 7. All right, who should be at number 6?
Number 6. I'm gonna go real old school. Coco Taylor.
Ah, blues singer Coco
Who singer?
Taylor. Yes, one of
Wang
the
Dang
best
Doodle.
blues singers ever. Yes, Wang Dang Doodle. Yes, you
Yeah.
mentioned that. I've never listened to any of her songs, but I've seen her in a couple of movies, including that movie Wild at Heart, or
Mm.
yeah, Wild at Heart. That had Nicolas Cage and the daughter of Laura Dern. Yeah. So that was one right there. So and she was also in the movie The Blues Brothers 2000 along with
Oh, okay.
other
Okay.
blues singers and also some classic soul singers that had Lou Rawls and Isaac Hayes and Stevie Winwood from the UK, and
Mm.
yes, B.B. King and Eric Clapton, just to name a few. So we'll put Coco Taylor at number, was it, we're up to number 6? Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty, who should be at number 5?
So number 5, who and he just came across my brain because he has a really really good album. I think he has really good 2 albums, but because he dibble dabble in movies, I think it didn't take his career with music further because he was already like a hit in movies. So I'm gonna say Jamie Foxx.
Ah, yes, the one and only Jamie Foxx,
Mm-hmm.
singer, actor, comedian, Academy
Yes,
Award winner. We all
everything.
know him from In Living Color, which he
Mm-hmm.
was in season 3 on Fox. He's best remembered for his characters, including The Ugly Woman and other tunes he did, Peep This and other Unpredictable and
Yeah,
many other tunes. But
unpredictable.
he'll be remembered for doing the portrayal of the late Ray Charles from the
Yes,
2004 movie Ray, which won him an Oscar for Best Actor.
he
And
was good.
yes, he was on his own show, The Jamie Foxx Show, and some other comedy specials in between. So we'll put Jamie Foxx at number 5. All right, who should be at number 4?
Number 4. You know what? I'm going to say. And this probably sounds strange, but he was on American Idol too. I'm gonna say Clay Aiken.
Okay, we'll put Clay Aiken right there. Clay
Yeah.
Aiken, number 4. Yes, he came out of the third cycle, if I'm not mistaken, the same time
Yeah.
with Ruben Studdard. That was the
Yes.
one that I know. Clay Aiken was at the top, even though we got a tie with Ruben Studdard. So we'll
Right.
put Clay Aiken right there. Although he didn't have a couple of hits back then, but he'll be best remembered for that third cycle with with Ruben Studdard, who won
Right.
this either
Right.
Clay or Ruben. So we'll put Clay Aiken at number 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Because he
right,
was good. I think they should have 2 winners.
yes. All right, who should be at number 3?
Number three. Number three. You know what? I'm gonna do a group here. I'm gonna do Salt and Pepper.
Ah, yes, those female ladies coming out of Queens, New York, Salt
Yes.
and Pepper, made their
Yeah.
debut back in 1986 with their debut LP, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, where they had their debut song called My Mic Sounds Nice. And then they
Yes.
had those two other hits, including Tramp and Push It.
Good shit.
Those were
Yeah.
the two songs that's been well requested at the clubs. And
Yes.
yes, for their videos. So we'll put the first female rappers mainstream in
Mm-hmm.
Queens, New York. They've known together when they worked at Sears out in Queens, best known for their
Mm.
tunes back in the later 90s and early 2000s, but they'll be best remembered for those two songs that I just mentioned, which went
Right.
gold, and that's Salt and Pepper. So we'll put them at number 3. All right, who should be at number 2?
Number two. I mean, the best person. I don't think I named him. I spoke of his name, but he was a really good Southern soul blues artist that not only shined, he did it with grace, and you could tell that he was having a good time. And that's Johnny Taylor.
Ah, the late Johnny Taylor,
Yeah.
number 2, made his debut back in 1968 when he joined the Stax family after the death of Otis Redding. At the same time, Stax went on its own after they left Atlantic Records, had some backing from Gulf and Western, which was the parent company of Paramount Pictures. Had his
Hmm.
number one hit, Who's Making Love, back in December of 1968 on Billboard's Soul Singles charts. He had some other number one hits, including Jody's Got Your Girl and Gone, and I Believe in You, and
Yes.
Cheaper to Keep Her. But when Stax closed its doors, he went over to Columbia CBS Records with his number one hit, Disco Lady, on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts and also number one on Billboard's Soul Singles charts for 3 or 4 weeks. That single went gold and it sold over 1 million copies in print.
Wow.
His other follow up song from his other LP back in 1977 was called Rated Extraordinary. And I was saying, like, oh, is that the song he's singing? Your Love is Rated X? When we was thinking about Rated X, we was thinking
Oh.
about that, that X, the adult film, Rated X, or Rated
Right.
Double X or Triple X. So he was not talking about that other that stuff. He was talking about
Yeah.
the other one. He was trying to explain it, rated extraordinary.
Oh.
So I kind of like that song right there. So we'll put Johnny Taylor at number 2. Alrighty, who should be at number 1?
Number one, and I know this is out the box because Devonese is out the box. I was sitting here, I have the name, but just like 2 seconds ago, another name came and it said they both should be number one because their life was cut short, and that they weren't able to They did it to the best of their ability at the time, but if they had went decades longer, that full potential would have been met. And I'm gonna start with Mr. Sam Cooke and Mr. Uh, um, Marvin Gaye.
All right, Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye
Yeah.
both tied at number one. Sam
Yes.
Cooke started with the Soul Stirrers with his
Mm-hmm.
gospel background,
Well,
and
yep.
then he went on to superstardom with his hits called You Send Me and Bring It On Home to Me and
Yeah.
Having a Party. And I didn't know back then he had his own record label called SAR Records. That I didn't know. When I was watching something on YouTube and PBS had that, that's the one that I didn't know that he formed his own production and record company called SAR. That I didn't know. But the other song that I heard for the very first time, and I was watching the movie Malcolm X. I saw the movie Malcolm X, and they had the song called A Change Is Gonna Come.
Yep. That's what's.
So
Yep.
that was something that it was the best song ever before he was shot and killed. But he'll be best remembered for all of those songs.
All of them. Yeah.
And
Yes, the
yes,
change gonna come.
Marvin Gaye too.
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye, he too started out in the church with his father, who was a pastor, and he started off with the group called the Moon Glows, where he met Harvey Fuqua, and then they teamed up with the Motown family. He started out in the 60s with that stubborn kind of fellow. He's best known for his mellow songs back then. But when the founder of Motown, Berry Gordy, wanted him to start creeping up a bit, so that's when he's best known for his hits, including Ain't That Peculiar, best
Yes.
known for doing duets with the late Tammy Terrell with their top 10 hits Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Your Precious Love, You're All I Need to Get By, which that song was later sampled by Method Man and Mary J.
Yes.
Blige.
Which I love.
And yes, and but he'll be best remembered for when he got into the 70s with his concept album What's Going On. That was the concept album where he talked about racism, problems in the black community, and the environment. And when Berry Gordy found out that he was going to do a song or a protest album, Berry Gordy was saying, "Why you want to do a protest album? People love you for your other songs." But he was telling a story about his brother who was in Vietnam, and then other things that I just mentioned, problems in the black community and the environment. And when that song dropped in the spring of 1971, the song went to number one on Billboard's Soul Singles charts for 5 weeks. And that
Wow.
album came out successful, went gold. It sold over 1,000 copies in print. He had two other songs, including Mercy, Mercy Me, The Ecology, and Inner City Blues. So that was a masterpiece. So he
Yes.
had other albums. He did the soundtrack album for the movie Trouble Man. I saw the movie. It was during my time during the 70s when the soundtrack albums came out that matches the movie. And
Okay.
his other album, Let's Get It On, number
Yes.
one on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts, and also number one on Billboard's Soul Singles charts. He had the
Wow.
live album. He had the other album, including I Want You, and his 1977 Live at the London Palladium with his number one hit, Got to Give It Up. And that song was later inspired by Robin Thicke, Blurred Lines. And
Yes.
then when he got to 1982, when he switched over to CBS Columbia Records with Midnight Love, with his signature hit, Sexual Healing, number
Yes.
one on Billboard's R&B Black Singles charts, number one for 10 weeks. Back in December of 1982, it won him an American Music Award, and it won him a Grammy Award for
Wow.
Best Soul Single, Best R&B Male. And yes, it was the height of his life back then. And
Yes.
his last appearance was at the Motown 25th anniversary special, which was aired on NBC. And he did his version of the national anthem at the NBA All Star game. And then suddenly, tragedy struck. His father had an argument with him, so he was shot and killed by his father on the eve of his 45th birthday. And then by 1987, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So rest in peace to those two gentlemen,
Yes. Yes.
Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye, one of
Right.
those best top 10 singers of all time.
All time. Yes.
Well, DeVonese, thank you so much for being here on the
Thank
Black
you.
Soul Music Experience podcast. It's a pleasure talking with you as we first do a Southern Soul episode as we celebrate Black History Month. Thank you
Yes.
so much for taking the time out to be with me on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed.
Now, before we go, where can we follow you for any upcoming events and where can we follow you on social media?
So follow me on social media at DeVonese. I'm on TikTok, YouTube. It's DeVonese or DeVonese78. You can also follow me on Facebook. You type in DeVonese, my God-given name, Sharita Turner, would pop up, but that is me. You can also follow me anywhere you get your streaming. You can type in DeVonese and I will pop up. I'm also Googleable. You can Google me. I will bring up videos and different things about me that if you want to know. So you can Google me as well. Follow my Facebook, Sharita Turner. That's Sherita Turner, for all the latest shows and all the latest flyers. Whatever I got going on, Facebook would have it first.
Okay. Download all of the artists that we have talked about today on this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast.
Hmm.
Visit iTunes.com, Spotify.com, or purchase a CD at Amazon.com. Make sure you follow DeVonese. Look for her on Instagram, on TikTok. You can also follow her on Facebook under her name, Sharita Turner. And make sure you check out all of her songs, which is available right now, streaming on YouTube. And check out the single Dirt Road, which is now available on iTunes. And
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check out this episode, please subscribe by going to the link. The link is riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s. Don't forget to add the S to the end, dash studio. And yes, I will be posting this episode on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And if you have a hard time getting on to riverside.fm, then please become a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And if you have a hard time getting on to Patreon, then I will be posting this episode on YouTube. And please pass it on.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me as I close out this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience. Well, that's about it for this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. I'm Sam Wilson Jr. Thank you for joining me, and please tune in next week for an all-new episode. The Black Soul Music Experience podcast is sponsored by the support of listeners like you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe by going to riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s studio. And don't forget to check out my audio podcast episodes by becoming a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And also check out my video podcast episodes by subscribing to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And please leave your comments, feedbacks, and replies by going to my Facebook homepage. Visit facebook.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And you can also tweet me on X, aka Twitter, at Sam Wilson Jr. 66. As always, parting, remember this: Reach for the top, and your dreams will come true, and it can happen to you. From all of us, take care. God bless. Thanks for listening. Have a good week, and please be safe.